So let's talk a little bit about the speaker election. So House leadership has now decided that you and the other members of leadership will be acting in 2018. So what brought you to that decision, and what is 2018 going to look like for a 4-member leadership team?
You know, it was really something that we just sat down amongst ourselves, and we've been so united through this process that we decided that we had a process in place that was working, one that we had provisions for in our rules and provided for by the Constitution, and it was working. So at that point, it seemed to be the best way to move forward and keep our caucus united, and so that's what we're doing.
And we've had some scandal go on, obviously, and you guys did an independent investigation, and you've now turned that over to LRC. So when do you expect an update, and what can we expect to see in the coming weeks or months?
You know, I haven't had a lot of contact with the Legislative Ethics Commission other than the initial turning over of documentation and the basic getting their investigation up to speed on things. Other than that, I haven't had a lot of interaction with them. I do know that they've begun the process, whatever that process is. I know they have their own investigators, and they have not really given me a time frame. They said it could be something that lasts as long as 60 days to 90 days. They didn't really give me any firm definition or firm time frame on that.
So in 2018, what do you expect to bring to the role of acting speaker?
Hopefully a little calm. I think that stability is very important right now, and we have had quite a bit of turmoil and controversy, and I think it's important to provide some calm to the process and give some confidence to the people of Kentucky that we're here to do business.
Absolutely. Now, because of some of that turmoil, pension reform has seen some lag in terms of when it was expected to get done. Now, you guys sent a letter to the governor asking for pension reforms to kind of be put off until the regular session of the General Assembly, as it is just a few weeks away. And he just said yesterday for the first time that it might not happen, but there's still a possibility. So do you feel that your letter and your request is being taken under serious advisement by the governor?
I don't think it was specifically the letter. We felt like when we were in retreat last week, our members had an overwhelming sentiment that they weren't ready to go into special session yet, just because we didn't have a bill that was completed, we didn't have scoring back from the actuaries, and they really wanted that communicated. And so we felt it was incumbent upon us as leaders to communicate that with the governor. And I think the governor has always said that he wants this done right, and he wants this done as quickly as possible. And I think that for whatever the many blames are, it just hasn't moved as quickly as everybody would like, and so I think it's just become a matter of that time frame, and the window is just closing on us.
Now, just last week you spoke at Commerce Lexington's policy lunch, and you talked about the fact that you guys are closer than ever on an agreement on pension reform, but you said you weren't ready to get into specifics. So how close are we really, and is there anything that you can kind of hint at in terms of what we can expect to see that could be different from the original?
You know, again, I'm not really ready to go into specifics because we want to have our members have the opportunity to weigh in on those things before we get too much information out there. But we've addressed many of the concerns that were brought forth by the public employees and the teachers associations, and I think that we've addressed many of those concerns that they will be happy with, and that our members are going to be much more comfortable with.
Now, are we close enough to even get this done in the first couple weeks of session? A bill would still have to be drafted and scored. Where are we in that process? Could it get done in the first couple weeks?
I think it could. That process is substantially complete. Not completed, but it's well in its way, and I think that we absolutely do have time to get that bill, get some sunlight on it, let the public weigh in on it, get that information available to our members, allow them to interact with their constituencies. Albeit over the holidays, it's not going to be necessarily the best time to communicate, but at the same time, people are able to focus on things during the holidays, and so I think that they're going to come in here with enough knowledge and information to be able to go ahead and act on something. And
this is obviously a very difficult issue to tackle, and there's a lot in the media and going around about what you guys are working on, and the public not. Some people say the public is not getting enough time to look at it, but what do you want people to know about pension reform and why it's so critical that the state does tackle this issue?
Well, regardless of what pension reform looks like, it is it is a horrendous pull on our state budget. This is going to be probably the most difficult budget that certainly I've ever been through, and quite possibly the most difficult budget in modern history, regardless of what we do with pension reform. But we can't continue to allow the underfunded liability of pensions to be this incredible drag on our budget. We don't have the revenue in this state. No matter what we do in tax reform or revenue enhancements, there's no way that we can possibly come up with enough money to continue to substantiate this type of unfunded liability. So we've got to deal with it, and we've got to figure out a way to stop digging the hole and start putting some money back into it. It's going to be a long process, but we got to, just as there was no better time to fix it than there was 4 or 5 years ago, there's no better time to fix it than now.